Compilation has finished. Also here, check if this version starts or not. Starts. Okay, now we can work. Now comes the step to go through the list of commits and have a look. I do it always at a day-by-day base, down to the last week. Here we have not a single change. Let's go to 16. And always have a look. For example, here is a change in the Blender default key map. This is something to have a closer look at if we need to add this entry to our key map too. I'm not really sure what is doing here. Press click. So there is just a change in the method. Could be an issue, could not be an issue. Let's have a look in our key map. If we have an entry here, this is release, scripts, presets, key config. Here we are. And now let's have a look for sculpt mask by color. No result. And this means this entry here comes from the Blender default key map anyways, so there is no action from us required. It is a change in the code base and nothing else. These are new brushes, but it should be experimental, and so also no action required from us. So, and so on. We have in the list this here that we need to find, for example. And also always have a look. Here is, for example, an entry UI. There is just in the wording something changed. It is no Python file changed, so this is nothing for our manual. But you have to go through every little commit here and have a look. First, for things that are not resolved, and second, for things that needs update at the manual. And if we need a task, we have, for example, had one case here where new operators came. I need to search it here, and then it's most obvious, most probably we need to add an icon then. I will search now for these issues and continue recording at this point. Here we have a possible candidate. Let's turn on Bforartists and let's have a look here. This is the curves node. Nodes. Come on. First, let's add some geometry here. Now we are at. I think this is. Doesn't exist yet. Okay, nothing for us. But this one should be something. This is Space View 3D. Okay, this is the menu Apply. Let's have a look in Apply menu. Main Object Apply. Here we are. This is one of these changes. Parent inverse is a new operator and it needs an icon. So let's create a task for this. And here we go. The task is there. Now let's already update the manual to describe this new operator. So this menu is in the header of the 3D view. Header. This is the object menu. and here the Apply submenu. Here we are. So we need to update this part. Just creating the image here that I want to drag in. So we need parent inverse, make instances real. Sorry. Here we are. This is parent inverse. Let's first have a look what happens here with the apply menu parent inverse. There is no last operator. Okay, I have no parent. Again, this should be this one. Object. I have no idea what this tool is supposed to do. Nope, no last operator. So what it does is to apply the object's parent inverse to the its data. What, please, is an its data? I smell a typo here. So this is the next task. But first let's finish this task. Parent inverse. This is letter 2. Applies. What was the tooltip? Applies the data object's parent inverse to. Oh, tooltips, my brain. To its data. Okay, this was it already. Update the table of content. Also the detailed table of content. Have a look if something is now off. This is always a bit cumbersome. It's about these gaps here. When an image by new text gets moved down into this gap, then we need to fix this. Maybe we find such a, here we have such a case. Okay. Here another. Every time when we change something at the manual, we also need to have a look at these problems here. This works. Here we need to go down. Lots of work. Simply lots of work, no matter what you touch. Let's use the faster method here. Here we have one more. This one is a gap to close. This was it, and of course update the table of content again. And save. Now there was this wrong tooltip here. Let's make another issue. Also this has an issue now. Now let's assume that we are through with the list here, with this list, but have overlooked this one here. Needs further investigation, this issue here. There is another way to find the commit. We need to open this file here. One moment, too much folders open here. Too much things open is not good. Okay, this is also the wrong folder. Here we are. This is Source Blender Editor's Interface. Blender Editor's Interface. Interface Region Tooltip. Here we are. You can open Git show look at this file. Then you get just the commits for this file. And this is most probably the commit. Yes. Modifier and KM shift. So with reading what the command does and what it is meant for, it makes now much more sense to do this change here. This needs now its own issue, because we have already finished the merge. So let's create an issue for this too. Also here is our issue. The way should be clearer now, how everything is done, how the merge is done, and what you need to do. I am sure I haven't covered everything, but this is impossible because the issues changes. But the general approach should be clear enough now. I will not continue with this merge. In case I stumble across something of interest, then I will append it. Already the first found. Here we have an interesting commit. This adds a new checkbox here in the geometry node editor up here, named attributes. This needs to be documented in the manual. This is in the header of the geometry nodes editor, and it's the header tools and options. Let's open this, and here we are, geometry nodes overlay. This is the old. And let's make an image here. Okay, this one is this. The name doesn't matter. Oh, come on, GIMP. Where is the dialog? Where is the dialog? Thanks. Let's drop it in. Node overlays. Here we are. Named attributes. This is at the end. This is letter 3. And what it does is show when nodes are using named attributes. So when a node is using named attributes, an overlay is showing. I have no idea what overlay. Let's investigate. One moment, please. Nope, not to find out. I guess this is an experimental feature. The commit tells us this is an overlay here with some tooltip, but I simply cannot figure it out at the moment. Node group, maybe node group. I have no idea. This is of interest because this happens very often, that you need 2 or 3 or 4 weeks until this arrives in the Blender manual to find out what we need to write in the Bforartists manual. As told, I have currently no idea what this tool does. where to access this overlay here. I nevertheless need to document it. Let's have a look what we can do here. This is what I do in this case. It is not currently fully documented, so we wait for the Blender manual to get updated, and we need, of course, to make a task in the manual tracker. Also, this task is done. Now let's continue. Don't forget to save the file, but first, always update this menu here, table of content. You might remember this one here, where I said, okay, we don't want to do it. Now reading here, we have found the issue for it. Now reading through, it is a new operator, and so we need to add it to our header here. This was animation, and it was in the here. We need to add the new operator here in this area. We have currently tweak, toggle on and off. Maybe when we should add it to one of the menus. So again, this is a task. The next task here. Another one of the usual tasks, we have a new select menu, and this menu misses the icons. And of course we need to update the manual here. Also here we are in the NLA editor. That is the marker menu. So let's go to the manual, NLA editor, marker menu, and this is the file to edit. Here we go. Here we have the new chapter here. Let's add a line before and after to make sure that this is one chapter. And this image here is currently without the icons. I will modify this icon once the task to add the icons is done. Also here, update. Don't forget to update this menu. Update, table of content, save. This commit here adds a new hotkey to rename markers. This is some kind of a special issue because F2, the hotkey to call the panel here. When you make in this area, then it calls the rename panel to rename the strip. What you need to do is to go down here, but here it still calls the strip name. So we need to add a hotkey to rename marker, like in Blender. They have it here. When you call the hotkey here, then you rename the marker. When you are in the timeline area, then you call the rename action strip. So we need to have the same functionality than Blender, just that we don't have any confusion here. So we need to add here a hotkey. This is the next issue. This is how the tracker fills. Here we go, the new issue. Before I forget, to investigate into this issue, I have created the settings and switched to the Blender key map. And to avoid any further conflicts while finding out about issues about the merge, always remove this folder here. Or we are in the danger that we, for example, work with the Blender key map. And so remove this folder when you start with the merge and when you do some modifications to find about such issues here, like this one with the key map. We want to work with a blank installation. Icons is another thing where my alarm bell is always ringing, but here in this case it is not about the icons in the icon sheet, but about brush icons, and so we can happily continue. And it goes on. User pref is always something to investigate. Let's have a look what we have here. Nothing really experimental, so nothing for us. Let's continue. Another key map change, but I haven't found anything that belongs to us, so continue. Lots of key map issues in this merge. They have removed an operator. Let's have a look if we have it in our key map, and then let's make an issue. Yes, we have. So let's make it an issue. Here we go, issue created. You really have to look at the commits one by one. This is what this task makes so time-consuming. This is something for the manual again. A panel has been renamed, so first we need to find the panel and then make a new image and then update the manual. This is something bigger. We have no Note tab here in the manual, and the Item tab is missing, so it seems that the Item tab got renamed to Node Editor, Note tab, and so we need to rename the manual in the first place. These issues are from us. So, next day. This has the label UI, but it is something about nodes and tooltips. I am not sure in which area I need to investigate here. Let's do this. Another UI issue. Nothing for us. It just refines the methods in which this here shows. But maybe the manual could benefit here. Let's have a look. What? A Blender task with images. Great. Okay, this is what it is about. Let's have a look in the manual. One little sentence, and on it goes. As told, this is the most time-consuming task to find out what such a commit actually does and what influence it has to Bforartists, be it the manual, be it the UI. Another UI issue here. This is always the kind of issues where I'm unhappy with because I have no idea where this shows. There is no region. So let's go through the UI or the commit. Maybe this gives us a hint. Maybe when they have an image in the task. As usual, nope. Now let's have a look. Where is this? Where hides it? Properties gives us already a hint. It could be in the properties editor here somewhere. So I started to search for the menu. Properties view layer. So it is here in the view layers. And it is a cycles feature. You have to know this. So first switch to cycles. Then we go to view layer properties, and here in the passes panel and the light group sub panel. And this is why I have searched a bit longer. It is this submenu here. So as usual, it is the properties editor, and the tab is view layer properties. So it's this chapter here. Here we go. The menu is documented now. This was it with going through the list. I always work 1 week. I document always, I make it day by day, and we have now arrived at day 7. This is the 10th April, and we are through here. Nothing more to do. But now comes the work in the repository. We have filled the tracker with quite a few issues. They need to be fixed now. This changes here needs also an update in the manual then. And afterwards, when I have done this, then we will commit the manual changes. Now let's fix these issues here. I didn't really want to go through the how to fix the single issues in the tracker, but this is a good opportunity to show you again the workflow to implement a new icon here. I grab one of these images here. The reason is when I open this with Inkscape, this is, by the way, still the old version 0.6, because the new version cannot do the following step. So when I open it here, then this image here has units of 16. This is the 16 pixels, and it has taken me quite an effort to get the PNG files from GIMP to open with the 16 pixel units. So as a base, always grab one of these images. Now for the process. image, path, we draw bitmap, and this is the part that doesn't work in the new Inkscape version anymore. Colors this off, and then click OK. And let's rename this to the icon name, save as. Never use save, it will overwrite your PNG file. Save as. And now we can import this SVG file into the sprite sheet or the icon sheet of Blender. Better said, Bforartists. Release data files Blender icons SVG. This takes a pretty while until it opens, even at my very fast PC. Here is our icon sheet. Now let's have a look where we have a gap. Okay, row 20 at the very end. Let's zoom in and throw in the icon. Not the PNG file, but the SVG file. Okay, here we need to set the background color to 0 to make it fully transparent. This here is just to position, to give you a help. Let's make it visible again, to give you a help so that you can drag around. This is wrong. Here I want to. So that you can drag around easily and snap the icon to the grid. Always check here if it is really at the grid. This one is, and then in this case make it invisible. Okay, file save. Now we need to open include source Blender editors include UI icons. We are at row 20 at the very end. Space problem again. This is row 20. Let's go to 21. This is why we at Bforartists have added this command. This is now super quick to navigate. And here, this is the place where the icon needs to be. So first let's copy over the def icon color. We have colored icons here. And then we need to throw in the name here. Which folder was it? This one. Apply parent inverse. Copy. Here we are. Save. But we are not done yet. There is another folder lurking in the background that we need to modify. Too much open, one moment. Here we are. This is source Blender editors, data files. And here, in this CMake file, we have the same list with the same icons. I have no idea for what reason, because they are all defined already here. But Blender developers decides that for Linux, this needs to be progressed again. No idea why. It is the way it is again. Row 21. And here is again our icon, but here you have to care, this one needs lowercase, not uppercase as here. Here comes a tool called Notepad++ in handy. Copy over the uppercase letter and mark it, edit, convert case to lowercase. And this is what we need here. Copy over, and then we need to add it here instead of the outcommented line here. Okay, save. And now we can create the icons. This is done by a script. This one here. So first we need to open the console again. Command. Okay, this is drive E. Then we switch to the directory where the icon sheet is. And it does not only contain the icon sheet, but also, one moment, let's open the folder again, release data files, but also the script, Blender icons update. This is in the same folder. And here is the command that you need to progress. Blender icons update. This is the script here that runs, and it progresses the SVG file and creates the icons. So let's do this. Copy, command prompt, paste, and it starts the process. This takes a while. Okay, we should have created the icons. As a test, you can have a look in the icon 16 folder, and here is the new icon. We can now use it in Python, in the Python UI code, and of course also in the C code. Before you continue, this has just created the new icons. We need also to compile. So let's compile so that the icon arrives here in the compiled result. Compilation has finished. Now it's about this here. This object apply parent inverse. This is the icon that we want to add. So let's have a look here at the term, the Python term. Copy, Python command. Let's paste it in here. And let's have a look here. I know that this is the SpaceView 3D file. And let's search for parent inverse apply. This is the place where we need to add the icon. Let's copy over this part. And the name of the icon was apply parent inverse. Save. And here let's open a script editor, text editor, file reload scripts. And when everything works well, then we should here have the new icon, parent inverse works. What you need to do now, because this was from the compiled result, to copy over the file to the folder in the repository, BLUI. And now we could commit the result. We would have now added an icon. It is in the UI, and we could commit. But the task is a bit bigger. This apply parent inverse needs to be here in the to shelf. I need to add it here, and here in the header region too. Let's open this code here. Make sure we have for every layout our own column count. So you need to add the operator here to all of them and make sure they have text or no text, dependent how the width is. We can simply copy over this here, at least for now, and then have a look how to modify it here for the sidebar. This one should work. File, save, file, reload scripts. Come on. Okay, the height does not fit because we have layout and not column. File, save, file, reload. So this is text only. Now let's have a look at the icon versions. This is this one. Okay, icon buttons, make doubly real, does not have text. So the text can be removed. And since we don't have text, we don't need text information. And let's copy this over. Make sure here is a row, that this one is also a row. Okay, copy, make doubly real. Here is 2 rows, so we need to add a row column. And here is single. There we are. This is the wrong operator. One moment. Let's copy this again. This is call. Python indentation. Thanks a bunch. So no text. This is the one row. Let's save it. File save. Now let's have a look. File reload scripts. This is unfortunate, but that's the way this works here. A little bug that we can't prevent. Looks ugly, but is functional. So I don't mind really. So parent inverse is implemented. Now remains the toolbar here. I will do this without recording. Now this button is also implemented, parent inverse. And as a last step, you need to, of course, to copy again space toolbar and toolbar tabs over from the compiled result into the repository. Since we have modified these, this is space toolbar. Where are you? Here we are. Toolbar, and the other was tool system, toolbar tabs. These. Drag them over. We have modified them. And as a last step, I might have them here. It is about whitespace. I haven't introduced any whitespace here, but at this point I always resave these files, open it up in here in Visual Studio Code. I have here an add-on installed that removes whitespace, so I open it here, save. So in case I have introduced whitespace here in this editor, I will surely remove it with VS Code or Visual Studio. I have them in both folders. So much folders here. Not enough space. Maybe here, I don't know. Maybe we have no, also no white space. As told, it is habit. Simply open and save it with your editor that removes white space. There we are. There was one. It is about this. This is white space. And as told, I have an add-on here in Visual Studio Code that removes this white space at saving. File save. And then the white space is gone. Ready to commit? Don't forget to add these changes also to the manual then. But first let's commit. What changes? These icons that we have created new are not yet in the repository. We need to add them. And now we can commit. Refresh. Here's the commit and fixed in master. Close. Fix label. And that was it. So this was it. We have done a full merge, a full cycle. We have done the code merging. We have done resolving the conflicts. We have done the manual work by going through the list of commits. And we have finally resolved all the conflicts that arrived with this merge. This was roughly worth 3 days of work. And this was it for this week. And next week, the whole thing goes again from start. And this is the weekly work that we do at Bforartists.